Hello everybody, welcome back to the Sleep Sleeper series. In this episode we got some interesting stuff to talk about. So, first off, no main series video today. I decided to record the sleep session. I'm going to do 2 tomorrow. I had family in town, so I didn't have that much time, and I only had time to go over this account, and the only reason why I'm really doing this is because I just procrastinated really late. So, anyway, upgrading pot size. I didn't realize I was able to do this before. I probably could do it twice, but I'm not really using the full pot on this account all that much. Yeah, I have another upgrade available, but I do not have the dream shards to afford doing so. How many dream clusters do I have? Do I have enough to upgrade again? I'm not going to, even if I do have enough, because I'm not really using the pot size all that much, so I don't really need it. I think I could get there, because yeah, those 12 would give me about 6,000. Basically, just with my dream cluster items, I could get there. But I want to increase my research rank a little bit before I be investing, dream clusters, because that gets me more dream shards out of them. And since I'm not really stunting myself anyway, because I'm not focusing too much on cooking on this account, I think it is worthwhile. But one upgrade, I already have the dream shards. May as well, Alrighty, so that may get in the way of our Marowak's progression a little bit, because I would like to push him to level 25 ASAP to get that berry finding S, but oh well. I normally don't show making the meals in this account, but given that it's a little bit bigger of a pot size, and you know what, we're just going to dump everything into this meal. Why not go all out? This is likely our strongest week we've had yet, even though I basically didn't check the account at all, and it was an American holiday, all that jazz. I likely was very busy, and he wasn't as active on the account as I'd like to be. So, but, would you look at that, fancy apple curry, next level. Let's go. Okay. But, now that we're done with EV Week, and we've been done with EV Week for a while, I just haven't really gotten around to thinking about it, or what I really want in terms of a healer, and I had a comment left on my last video by iBen Brown, or I don't know if it was my last video, but one of my other videos, by iBen Brown Plays Pokemon Sleep. Highly recommend his channel. If you haven't seen it, go check him out. He's a fellow YouTuber, Pokemon Sleep YouTuber. Gotta give all the credit to all of them, because, very niche community and got very few creators, and I think that pretty much all of them that I've seen I enjoy. So, yeah, he left a comment on one of my videos that was basically saying, okay, dude, what is your healer plan here? What are you actually looking for in terms of a energizing cheer Pokemon? What's your minimum threshold? And I was like, I haven't really thought too much through that, just because I've been so busy with like the holidays and stuff and my job, my day job. So like, I haven't really actually thought through what I want in terms of my long-term healer. I knew I wanted one, but I didn't know what expectations to actually set for myself. And that is important to consider when considering these factors. Because, what are you going to get value out of it? And it's really, really difficult with the free-to-play. Because, you should be looking for the best. Realistically. Whatever the best is, if you can get it. Problem is, the best sometimes never comes around. And if you hunt your whole life and never catch it, well, then those seeds you may be saving for the long-term healer just sit in the bag, and then you never use them, effectively being completely worthless to you. Not spending your seeds is as bad as not having them to begin with. So, I just was like, I kind of came back to this Eevee and was like, is this worth it? Well, the investment. And I think that was the best Eevee that I got. This one's more interesting with Berry Finding S. But, the other Eevees that I caught, oh! Didn't know that was the thing I did. I apparently spent $200 with this stupidly bad Ekans. This Eevee also has Skill Trigger S, but that's pretty much the only thing it's got going for it. And then this one had, I think I kept it for Research XP bonus primarily, and a Skill Chance Up Nature. So, I guess I gotta do a little bit of comparison. Between primarily this one, no, the other one's gonna be better, because a Skill Trigger M is always better than a Nature on its own. So, yes, skill level up M is nice, but on the healer, it's nice to save seeds, but on the healer, I'm willing to spend that little bit extra. So really, out of all the EVs that we caught, the best healer option that I found was really this guy. Skill Trigger M, Help Speed S, eventually Help Speed M. That's gonna be way down the road. I wish those two Help Speed skills were flipped, because, you know, that would be very, very nice. And I basically just ran through the calculator. You know, what are we looking at in terms of teams, in terms of actual output? Back when I did this theorizing early on, of if I wanted to catch the Energizing Cheer Pokemon, I kind of was like, do I want it? And I evaluated it, and every time the Energizing Cheer Pokemon with a max level skill did output greater team value per day. And what's interesting, I'm noticing this now, this Leafeon makes exactly 5 triggers a day on average, which is enough to give 1 trigger to each Pokemon, and on average, it's going to do that. And I did check it against other teams similarly. I'm not going to click through those other teams and show them to you, because Rainon X is actually having a bit of a problem right now. Let's see if they fixed it yet. No, it's still down. But I loaded these websites before the outage happened, so if I reload this page, I may lose it. So I'm not going to worry about, like, going to a different page at all. I'm just going to use the tool while it's up. I theorized for if my 4 best Pokemon were level 50, what would I be looking at for a team? And then I was like, well, what is the math behind the Energizing Cheer Pokemon? And I was like, well, it really comes down to energy. Now, this is the Energy Curve Analysis tool, a fantastic tool that was developed by the Rainon X team for really theorizing how energy is going to work for your team. So this guy would be outputting 1 proc of 50.6 energy per day, which, as you can see here, gives an average modifier of 1.9116. That's a 91% increase to the team's overall productivity throughout the course of a day. However, it's very weird with Energizing Cheer, because sometimes there's a couple different things. One, sometimes those procs are going to happen earlier in the day, and sometimes those procs are going to happen later in the day, because it's proccing 5 throughout the day. So really, it's probably going to be 2 right at the start, and then 1, 2, 3 spaced evenly throughout the rest of your day. There's 2 different options on the calculator of optimistic or conservative. Optimistic is if a Pokemon gets it right away. Conservative is if it gets it at the worst possible point. And I was like, well, average across the time, it's probably going to be like an average of these 2. So I did a little bit of math here to figure out what the actual modifier is, because yes, that's a 95% increase on the optimistic side, but compared to 0 is always going to give this modifier of 1.5594. So yes, it's a 94% increase, but that's a 94% increase from what was already a 56% increase from the base value from the impact of energy just from sleeping. So it's really not a 94% increase. If it was, that would be insane. The math really comes out to you need to divide by this 1.5594. So I did some math here, and with just 1 proc a day, using the average of the conservative estimate and the optimistic estimate to account for the fact that different Pokemon are getting them at different times, I found that it comes to a 24.1% increase on average. Now, that is to the other Pokemon's productivity. That is not taking into account that the Pokemon itself is contributing some berries and ingredients to the team. And if you have 4 solid Pokemon, then this means that effectively you're creating 0.2411 or 0.2412 or whatever times 4 of another Pokemon through buffing the others, while also contributing a small amount through what the Pokemon itself contributes. So realistically, we want this number to be 25%, so that what the energy for everyone, or the Energizing Cheer Pokemon's producing, is just free. So the closer we can get to 25%, the better. And I plugged in a couple different numbers into this energy curve analysis. You can test it out for yourself. And 50.6, the reason why I'm using that number is because that's the value of a level 6 Energizing Cheer proc. If you do 1.05 or 1.06, this number, when I took the average, was the one that gives almost exactly a 25% increase. So this number is the number that I'm looking for, but that's 1.06 procs to each Pokemon on the team, which multiplied that across 5 Pokemon is 5.3. So that's the number we're targeting, 5.3 procs per day. That's how I came to that number. You can dispute that number if you want. But realistically, I feel like after that point, there is no better Pokemon that you can catch that would be better than it. Now, I'm willing to settle for less, and that is if it has helping bonus, because helping bonus would stack with the energy modifier. So to get that 25% bonus, helping bonus alone contributes a 5.2% bonus. So in order to get that to 25%, let's just see. If I do 1.25 divided by 1.052, we're only needing like an 18.82% modifier, which here, you're going to get to see some of the math live, because I actually haven't done this math to figure out what the number would be. I'm just going to see, what does 0.8 give us? 1.9013. And then that's for the optimistic. What's the conservative? 1.8589. Divide by 2. Divide by 1.5594. So that's even a 20% increase. So that's pretty significant. So I probably could get away with like a 0.7 or 0.6. If I stumble across one with helping bonus, I'll figure out what this exact number is. I don't want to bore you guys with a boatload of just plugging in numbers to figure out if it's worthwhile. But really, we only need like an 18% increase if it's got that. And 0.8 times 5 is just 4 procs per day. So if it's got helping bonus, I'm willing to settle for less because it's buffing the team in another way. But yeah, that's where I find this intriguing. And so this is the Leafeon candidate that I have right now that I was showing on screen for a while. I'll bring it back up here. It's got Help Speed S at level 50. For if we're running for level 50, it only gets 5 procs a day. I was looking for 5.3. That's a very minor difference. But the question is, do I think I can find something better? I don't know. If this Help Speed S wasn't blocked by Help Speed M, and I could sub-skill seed it, the healer is the thing that I'm most interested in investing into, since it is the one team member that's going to always be on the team. And just given that, also I just realized I didn't give it Cacao. If I could make it Help Speed M, we'd be right there. We'd be flying fine. We'd be doing great. It's at 5.37 procs per day. That's within the realm of what I'm looking for. Now, granted, this is if I ever have the opportunity to use a camp ticket, that bonus is going to be higher because this healer is going to proc more times in a day. So that this thing's going to always be worth it on good camp ticket weeks. But being a free-to-play account, it's not going to have that great of access to good camp tickets. So do I invest? Level 75, it's worth it. But by the time that I can get this thing to level 75, I mean, I'm already going to have... I'm sure that in that amount of time, I could have caught a Pokemon, one that gets these numbers better, especially if I'm looking at the Slowpoke line. Once again, this is something that I haven't actually accounted for beforehand, so I don't know how the math is going to come out. But I'm sure this guy can get there easier. If I just give him, let's say, Help Speed M, Skill Trigger M, this is what got the Leafeon there before. Oh, that's... Oh, wait, he's level 1. That's why. 5.47. He surpasses that. If I just give him that Help Speed S, does he get it? Let's see. He doesn't quite make it either. So I guess really what I'm looking for is minimum Help Speed M, Skill Trigger M. Nothing less than that. This is like the bare minimum, these sub-skills. Will that work on a Wobbuffet? That's the next question, because Wobbuffet I know is worse than the others, but if I catch an absolutely cracked Wobbuffet candidate, I'm not going to say no to it just because it's a Wobbuffet. If anything, that proves the point of this series even more. 4.72. Woof. Wobbuffet is just terrible. Even at doing what it's good at, it's terrible. So, man, even with Help Speed S in there? Okay, I guess we would need, like... Nature would have to help. Oh my gosh, even with Skill Trigger S in there? Okay. So Wobbuffet's probably out of the picture for what I'm looking for that 5.3. Let's just see, though, if I give it a skill chance up Nature. That still isn't enough? Oh, no, because I didn't finalize the... Let's say it's this. Okay, there, it's enough. So if it's got, like, a skill trigger up Nature and Help Speed S and Help Speed M, Wobbuffet's worth it. But Wobbuffet is pretty terrible all around, even in terms of energizing cheer. So that's just unfortunate for the Wobbuffet. But yeah, 5.3 procs per day. That's what I'm looking for. If it's less than that, I may end up settling on this Eevee. Because it's difficult deciding to settle for something that's below that target number that I've calculated out for. Because realistically, 5 procs a day, 24% boost, it's producing 24.11 times across 4 different Pokemon. That means it would have to contribute more than 4% of a good berry finder to be worthwhile, to be beneficial to the team over another good berry finder through its berries and ingredients. And at base, yeah, we're not really concerned about berries and ingredients on an energizing cheer Pokemon per se. But if you just think about it, let's assume it produces half the berries and ingredients of another option. Of both, which isn't always the case, because it produces half the berries of a berry specialist. Well, it would really be more like a third. Okay, let's just make this even crazier. Say it produces a third of what the ingredients and the berries that the others produce at base. And then let's say it produces half of that because you're not looking for the sub-skills in nature that would benefit those specialties. You're still producing 16% of what the other ones would produce in that slot. So maybe I don't need the 5.3 per day. Maybe the 5.0 is enough, because it is still outproducing another good berry finder in that slot or another good ingredient specialist in that slot. This has all just been a lot to think through, a lot of math to discuss, and it's something that intrigues me, delving deeper into the math of this skill that I haven't really worked with before. And the other major thing that the 5.0 is assuming is it's assuming that it's giving 1 proc to every member of the team. But that's not even guaranteed, because there's different chances that certain Pokemon will get, like, double proc, and then when that happens, energy gets wasted. And the calculator doesn't even account for that, really. It always assumes optimistic or conservative, best case, worst case. It doesn't... And worst case is worst case that it overheals, and it's assuming energy for everyone, because who's using energizing cheer? I don't blame them for not coding that. So just given the fact that it can be wasted and the calculator is not accounting for that, I think I really have to shoot for that higher threshold of the 5.3. So because that's not accounting for this. If it was perfect and it always gave to the lowest energy Pokemon, 5.0 could be good, but it's just not all the time. Most of the time, you're probably going to have at least 1 proc go to a different Pokemon, maybe 2 to the wrong Pokemon. So it also doesn't take into account energy up natures, which I do have that on, I believe, the Marowak, and on my... or at least the Marowak. And it also doesn't account for... I forgot what this last thing was. It'll come to me eventually. If it doesn't, then sorry for leaving you hanging. Anyway, so let's actually get to the main concepts of the video, which is just seeing what I saw last night. I haven't done the sleep review for this account yet. Like I said, I did on my main account, but I'm not planning on making a video for it today. You'll see that tomorrow with 2 sleep sessions. in there. Alrighty. First we'll collect up the berries, and then we'll get going to review this sleep session, which I am excited about. Alrighty, let's see. Balanced as always. I mean, they're never gonna be able to fix it. I'm really hoping that it never bans this. I hope this phone never loses support, because if it does, that'd be a sad, sad day. I'd have to scramble to figure something out. I do have the account backed up. That was one of the first things I did after I realized that this thing is a pretty bad phone. 7 sleep styles, though. We're not looking at a new record quite yet. I'm assuming during the next Good Sleep event, we're definitely going to hit a new sleep style record, or drowsy power record. Alrighty, well, we're looking at a bunch of Pokemon we can't catch on that side of the field. And, wow, the one that I was just slamming on that side of the field. The only Pokemon we can catch this morning is the Wynot. All the other Pokemon on the field are outside of the scope of this experimental account. Okay. But 2 new sleep styles. That's good progress. Maybe we'll be at the point where we can upgrade that pot even further beyond what we are already at, and where we're already hitting to a Dream Shard wall. Dream Shard brick wall. Okay, everything else we've already seen before. Cyndaquil, Charmander, or Charmeleon, 2 good of Pokemon. Those fire types. All fire types are pretty good in this game. Arcanine is meh, but still has a pretty good usage. It's one that's within the scope of this this account. I can catch the Arcanine. I'm trying to think. Flareon is also in my list of usable Pokemon. I'm not really interested in pot expanders. More interested in catching one with good energizing cheer. Wow! The game's like, look at me! The best early game healer option. And I'm hungry. You're still early game because you're stunting your progress. Why have you not caught me yet? The Igglybuff. Just hungry. Waiting to do me good. But I'm like, no, Igglybuff. I'm gonna feed this Wynot over here. This little baby. I can't do anything well. I swear, if this thing's got the absolutely most cracked stats I've ever seen, if I manage to catch it and it's got those stats after talking up the... Oh, I can't even see. Well, that's a disappointment. Next time, though. There's a part of me that wants to feed a biscuit just to see if it mega hits, but not worthwhile. I want to try and leave them uncaught, so it can really just be proven. I'm only going to catch the Pokemon outside the list if I either A, have to because I don't have anything else to throw a biscuit at, or like, if it's a Pikachu, and it's like the last thing, sure, I'll catch it. Because then in that... Whoa, wait a minute! I'm seeing the pictures! That's amazing! That was never the case before. I just am so used to it from my other account that I never really... If it did that in the last session, I didn't notice it. Also, I noticed, after switching to my new headset, switching from a wired headset to a wireless headset, it dropped the audio quality in these videos quite a bit, and I was advised by my brother, who actually was recently found the channel, that I should just, for recording, even though I don't like this headset because the cable's kind of loose, it's kind of sketchy, it's kind of dying, the audio quality's better, I should use it for the channel. So, that's what's going on now. The audio quality should be back to what it was before I got the new headset, and I'll just use the wireless headset for my gaming. But for recording, I have this one still. Alrighty then. Well, I think that's about everything to discuss the plans for the channel. I still don't remember what that last point against the energizing cheer is. I'm sure it'll come to me right after I'm done recording. But yeah, it's interesting thinking through what the energizing cheer can do and how I want it to be used. So, and those are my goals. That's what we're looking for planning. I'm hoping that the next event is like something Dream Shard based. We're looking at Holiday likely being the next event, aside from Growth Week. Growth Week will be kind of nice, just for getting some passive XP on the Pokemon. This account we got the Driftlin, which this is probably our biggest long-term investment. I've thought on it for a while, and you know, I guess I do need a little bit more. I think it's worth the main skill seed, or the sub skill seed. I think it's got good enough stats that with a sub skill seed, with a main skill seed eventually, 3 main skill seeds. Maybe I'm undervaluing how many main skill seeds we're gonna get, but long term, this dude's got decent skill triggers, and he's got 2 free seeds on him just in the sub skills, which is one of the biggest things on free to play. And I do have some sub-skill seeds, but sub-skill seeds are probably one of the most, or I have one. It's probably the most limited resource on the free-to-play, because you really only get them for badges. Events don't really dole out sub-skill seeds all that often. You do get them from badges, and it's more abundant in the badges than the main skill seeds from what I've seen, and the main skill seed ones are a lot harder. But if you're ever at the point where you're getting to Master 20 on the islands, Master 20 on every island is a sub-skill seed, which that sub-skill seed is basically promised if you're min-maxing the game, you're eventually going to hit a point where you can hit Master 20. So, like, they're a bit more available through badges than what the main skill seeds are, but main skill seeds, because of how desired they are, and how you need so many of them, the devs give them out as gifts now and then, and, put them in more in events than what I've seen of sub-skill seeds. So, however, you need less sub-skill seeds because you might only need like 1 or 2 of them on any given Pokemon at the top. But if you want to min-max your skill specialist, you're looking at, especially on like Dedenne, you're looking for like 5. So it's crazy to think about how many main skill seeds you'd have to dump into them. 5 versus maybe 1 or 2. You don't even necessarily always need them, so. But I think to guarantee increase on the skill trigger S, which is the biggest sub-skill for it, I don't think I'm going to sub-skill it again at Help Speed S, unless I'm way down the road and I have extra sub-skill seeds. But I think, especially since it's earlier on, this is going to be a long-term Pokemon, so I think it's worthwhile. This hurts. First time using a sub-skill seed on the free-to-play, but I think it's worthwhile. If it's not, then whoops, it's done. But it happened. Well, I think that is really it for today. If you have enjoyed the video, then please leave a like and subscribe. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.